Cole Region Football's Thursday Night Tailgate. Thanks for joining us. This is our Week 7 show. Hopefully you saw our preview of the Thursday night special. We hadn't traveled to Panther Valley. What we're going to do now is take a look at all of the Week 6 action and see who came out on top of those games. First game we're going to talk about, as always, we have one team going out of league. This week it was Schuylkill Haven. Schuylkill Haven, nativity was just with the doctor order for Schuylkill Haven. They needed to get back on track, and obviously they took care of business at home against Nativity. Schuylkill Haven rolls to a win, 67-0.
Yeah, Schuylkill Haven, like you said, they needed this. They got to get back on track. Mike Farr said after that Jim Thorpe loss, like, hey, listen, we're not done yet. We have a lot of football left to play. We're going to go on one of our runs. 67-0 is sure far away to get going on one of your runs. You had Will Cassell over 100 yards. Fink 80 yards. So Fink is looking like he's now 100% healthy.
Mm-hmm.
They saved those guys. I think Fink only had 8 carries and Cassell 10.
Yeah.
So they're getting ready for their home stretch here. I expected this to happen, and I expect Schuylkill Haven to, possibly go on a run now. I said we've been saying it the whole time, but now that I know Fink is 100% according to Mike Farr, that hey, there's no reason why they can't. They have the talent, they have the ability. Now they have they had the Nativity transfer Lozada at quarterback now, so maybe then they can mix in some passing. But yep, exactly like you said, a nice win for Schuylkill Haven moving forward.
Yeah, 28-0 after the first quarter. They got the rest of a lot of guys and went out, took care of business, did what they had to do, and they know that they have to go 5-5 at the very least. And
yeah.
You have that North Schuylkill and Blue Mountain game coming up. So in those two games, they have to find a way to split those two. So they got to start playing their best football and so step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, hard to take much out of this game. Kind of what we expected, regardless of what Haven's record is. I think we'll get more of an idea when they head up to Marion this week. So we'll talk more about that in our next segment. But Haven takes care of business, 67-0 over Nativity. Next, Shenandoah going to North Schuylkill. What we expected. North Schuylkill comes on top. 42-7. Once again, North Schuylkill now 6-0 keeps on rolling. Shenandoah still looking for their first win.
Yeah, same thing here. 28-0 after the first quarter. North Schuylkill scored all 42 of their points in the first half, and again was able to rest a lot of starters, which was nice because they have a big one coming up this week out of league. So, North Schuylkill just kept the machine rolling, and we're looking forward to this matchup with Mount Carmel coming up this week and the rest of their league schedule.
Not much to add. It looks like Major Jordan's fully healthy now. He had 2 touchdowns, so that's a great thing for them moving forward after his concussion, I think 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago it was. So that's big for them, and like Coop said, with the big matchup with Mount Carmel, rivalry game coming up this week, something that, just another confidence and momentum builder for the Spartans.
And, for Shenandoah, happy, obviously, to get this one on the back burner and move ahead and continue to look for that first W for Coach Maxivich's crew. So North Schuylkill comes on top 42-7 to keep their record perfect at 6-0. Next, heading to Jim Thorpe, Panther Valley at Jim Thorpe. On paper, obviously, it was a mismatch. We got the defending AFL champ undefeated. We got Panther Valley, who's been struggling as of late, especially on the offensive end. But boy, the first half, Panthers really hung tough, did a lot of nice things. 0-0 at halftime. Jim Thorpe in the second half kind of pulls away and shows why they're the defending AFL champs. And Jim Thorpe comes on top, 27-6, and what really was a good game to see.
Yeah, it really was, and I was able to watch this game on tape delay. Thankfully, Coach Davis sends me some tapes. I get to watch them. And Panther Valley played a great first half and actually left a touchdown out there. I thought they ran a big play where they got Schubeck out on a wheel route, had him wide open, just missed the pass, and they actually could have scored first in that game. Ryan Schubeck did rush for 90 yards in that first half on just 10 carries. A lot of those yards came on 2 big plays, but then he was injured to come out in the second half, and that really slowed down their offense. And like I said, they just couldn't get the passing game kicking in the gear. But like the defensive effort, Jim Thorpe was able to put some drives together in the second half and and take over the game. But good first half of football for the Panthers anyway.
Yeah, it's something that Coach Davis wanted his team to do. They came out, they played with effort, and they played with some confidence, and they had a positive result in the first half. Jim Thorpe has been notoriously offensively kind of shooting themselves in the foot this year with different things, some penalties, just some missing some plays, exactly,
fumbles.
Yeah, exactly, just stuff like that, things they need to clean up. And this week is a good week to do it against a solid team in Monterey, but they need to clean some things up. But once again, their defense didn't allow a touchdown. The touchdown came from
Kick return.
kick return, and actually Bob Ford, who's our main photo guy, he said, "Well, it looks like all Jim Thorpe scored tonight because Ali Capapianco was at Jim Thorpe last year."
Right.
So he said, "At least it was all Jim Thorpe guys that scored tonight." But yeah, Jim Thorpe was over the 300-yard rushing mark again this week. So I mean, they've been running the football really well. People might not know film that.
Yeah.
And Robbie Heller is going to surpass 1,000 yards this year if he stays healthy. So he's had a great season, and Jim Thorpe.
173 this week.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jim Thorpe's always been notoriously known for being balanced. They have some years they have great passers like they had in Corey Senacola, Pat Davinu. Last year Saunders was 1,000 and over 1,000 rushing, over 1,000 passing. So they always have guys that can throw the football. This year they're just basically geared towards the run. They run that shotgun pistol. They a lot of misdirection, and they pound it. So, Jim Thorpe again. Panther Valley making strides. Now let's see if every time it seems that Panther Valley plays well, then the next week they don't. So hopefully they can, even with the injuries, they can put up a solid effort this week. But Jim Thorpe's doing what they have to do to win, and all that matters is if you win. It doesn't matter how you win or how you look winning, as long as we win.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's only 10 games, so you got to get that W. Unfortunately for Panthers, we talked about the injury of Ryan Schubeck. Not only was he running the ball well, but he was doing a real good job of the defensive end in that first half, helping to contain Jim Thorpe's rushing attack. And he was, as much as we talked about them missing him in the second half on offense, was I think just as much on the defensive end.
Sure.
But again, credit Jim Thorpe, as we do every week. Jim Thorpe, they just keep winning. And they're undefeated, 6-0, setting up some huge games down the stretch for them. So Jim Thorpe gets the win 27-6 over Panther Valley. Next, we had Monty area traveling to Blue Mountain. Speaking of injuries, we talked a little bit about Jason Richmond. How this has been a big loss for Monty. Since he went down, obviously they're missing a key component on the offensive and defensive end. Blue Mountain, very very well played game for Blue Mountain, and they come on top at home, 35-6.
Yep, and Blue Mountain, obviously they're in a position where they can't lose. And even at 8-2, they're not going to be guaranteed anything. So they're playing with their backs to the wall every week, and they can't afford any letdowns. And they come out in this one. I thought Monterey might give them some problems, but they came out, obviously emotionally ready to play. Got a nice rushing performance. Will Horn just shy of 100 yards. He 94 yards and a touchdown. Greenwald threw a touchdown pass, and they were able to win this one pretty easily.
Yeah, Mono area. It seems that when they have these bigger teams, like expected, they struggle. They struggled against all the height and Blue Mountain or Schuylkill. So. Anytime the Mono sees a matchup with those teams, they struggle. They still have that big play threat, but I think when they're in the trenches there, they just don't have the time for both the Masons, Mason Evans and Mason Ryan. I just don't think they have the time to be able to do what they have to do. So, Blue Mountain, just like Coop said, they have to continue to win. They were able to do that. And Mono just has to grit their teeth against those bigger teams and try and stay healthy so they can make a run at districts.
I think you see, you mentioned Blue Mountain, how they can't afford a slip up, and Jim Thorpe really can't afford any height. And
all three of them can't.
It's an interesting dynamic with the AFL because you see these teams coming in and you think maybe there might come a week where they're looking ahead, and they don't.
No,
there's no looking ahead. You can catch them in basketball, maybe catch them in baseball, sleeping, looking ahead. But when they know they're playing a team that they need to beat, they know that, and they're zoned in. And some of these smaller teams or teams that might be struggling a little bit, it's tough when you come up against these bigger schools that not only are they bigger, but they absolutely know they need to win this game, and they're zoned in on it. And Blue Mountain was this week, runs a record of 4-2. Monty area falls in 3-3. Next, at Tamaqua. Speaking of teams that got to keep winning. I mentioned it the last 2 weeks. I like what I'm seeing from Tamaqua right now. I really do. I think about the beginning of the year, they have a freshman quarterback that they're prepping, so you got to think that he's getting the majority of reps. What percentage of reps he's getting, I don't know, but you got to think it's probably about 90% in preseason and throughout their camp, and everything's geared toward getting him as many reps as possible and working things around him because he's going to be your starting quarterback. And boom, you lose him right away. Since they've adjusted, Tamaqua goes to 4-2. They take care of business at home against Minersville, a Minersville team that had been playing better. Tamaqua wins 40-8.
Yeah, Tamaqua's on a 3-game win streak now. Tamaqua defense is playing really well. We'll get to that later on, but only 8 points in the last 2 weeks. And Bud Moyer was over 200 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. His second time in the season now. He's rushed for over 200 yards, and he has 771 yards rushing on the season. So, he's turned himself into the one of, I'd say a top 5, top 6, top 7 back in the league this year. And, he's a tough runner. Ernie Shilko, who was supposed to be a running back, is doing a great job at quarterback. Yeah. They're just playing football and doing things they always have. And it seems defensively they're really starting to gel, even though the competition they're playing, haven't played the last 2 weeks, isn't, what they'll be seeing later on down the road. But, you can just tell the way they're playing defense. They're not giving up yards.
Right. Sure.
So anytime you're not giving up anything, first downs, the first down, they're holding teams to very minimal, low number of first downs. Anytime you're doing that, you can tell your defense is on point, and they're going to be prepared every week. They're going to come at you hard, smooth football every week. And anytime you have that, you have a chance to win. And like you said, I agree. I really like the way they're playing football.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And to complement Bud Moyer's 200+ yards, you have Tyler Skripko ran for 139, 2 touchdowns of his own. So a great 1-2 punch out in the backfield now. They're running the ball well, and that's all they do. They're not going to throw it on you, and they don't. You don't have to think about that. They're going to run the ball, line up, and play smash mouth. And right now they're doing a great job of that.
You look at Tamaqua since Coach Bonner's been there, and the consistency. You don't see, regardless of who graduates, you don't see that drop. You don't see those 1-9 seasons. You don't see those big blowouts. They've been so consistent. And we keep talking about how physical they are. And I know we're talking to some guys that have kids in the program, and they're junior high kids over the summer or in the weight room 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Sure.
And and there's a large group of them showing up. Well, they've been doing that for years. So these kids that are there now, they've been doing that when they were in junior high.
It's contagious.
And it's paying off. So we say it all the time. But if you're a kid and you're in 7th, 8th, 9th grade and you're playing football, look to Tamaqua at what the weight room does.
Yeah.
Because it's every year for them it pays off, regardless of who graduates, regardless of what they got, it keeps them rolling, and it's just a tribute to the program that they put together there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last we got our game of the week. We knew there was a big game in Lehighton. Marion coming to town. Both teams really looking to get a W here and stay on track, moving ahead into the last few games of the season. And Lehighton, just a dominant performance. Lehighton looked really sharp, and they shut out Marion 24-zip.
Yeah, and this game started out a battle back and forth. Both defenses playing well, and it was actually a field goal that got the scoring started. As Tegan Dershin kicked a 24-yard, I think it was, to open up the scoring.
And look for him to be a weapon as this plays out.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And then 10-0 at halftime. So a good defensive battle in the first half. Lehighton probably left the touchdown out on the field with some clock management issues at the end. But the whole night, Marion just couldn't get anything going offensively. Just absolutely nothing. I mean, Lehighton stifled everything that they tried. Now, obviously, Muscornick did not play, which was a big loss for Marion offense. But this Lehighton team is really, really playing well now, and they have been all season long. I mean, 2 losses. A 3-point loss to North Schuylkill and a loss to Governor Mifflin. Other than that, they've been dominant. And I was really impressed with them this week.
Yeah, they were just way too tough up front for Marion. I mean, I think that's Marion's shown they play those bigger teams. That's been their issue. They hung with Blue Mountain, but, if their offensive line would have played better, I think they had a couple of chances to seal the game with the ball, and they had to punt. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you can get some push there and get a couple of first downs, you win the game. So, that's the thing with Marion right now. They got to get tougher up front. And I don't know how you do that at this point in the season. You just got to kind of just say, listen, if we want to make playoffs, we got to get better up front.
I think we have to be tougher up front this week.
Yeah.
I mean, we got with school behavior, which we'll get to. But, we talked about the weapons there. Obviously, Muscornick didn't play, but you have Kaczynski, you got Steer, you got Augusti. You got some guys there that obviously are capable of making some plays. So for Lehighton, credit Lehighton for shutting that offense down.
Yeah, Snurr is their guy. I mean, he's really put the offense on his shoulders. I mean, he has 600-some yards rushing. He's a tough runner. Over 100 yards receiving. I think he has like 7 or 8 touchdowns rushing, a touchdown receiving. Yeah. I mean, he's a good player. He does it all for them. So I think now, I don't think they have a choice but to give Nico Augusti more opportunity on offense. I mean, the kid has ability, and he's got to, I can't even. I don't even want to say step up because unfortunately, it just seems like he hasn't gotten the opportunities, and whatever the reason might be for that, we don't know at this point in time. But anytime the kid seems to touch the ball, he does things with it. So, that's our job to observe that, and then talk about it. So I'm only telling you what I'm seeing out there. I'm not making things up here. I don't. The kid maybe touches the ball maybe 5, 6, 7, maybe 7 times.
A lot of those on the return game.
Yeah. So, I feel like he's going to have to be implemented more into the offense now, and somebody else has to step up. I mean, Nick Sully might be a guy that can run the football, maybe the thunder and lightning type thing in the backfield for them. But somebody's going to have to step up in the offensive end, because without Mascornik, they are just not the same offense they were at the beginning of the season.
And we can't even use that as an excuse, because you think about it. Marion wins the Eastern Conference Championship last year.
Yeah.
So they're sitting there at the end of the season, looking forward to the 2014, thinking, okay, we're ready to roll.
Yeah.
With this squad we have, we're ready to roll. And then Mascornik comes in. So they at the end of last year, they're already thinking ahead towards this year that okay, we can do this. And Mascornik obviously was an added bonus for them, but you would think without them that they could still keep things rolling. But again, Lehighton is playing dominant football right now.
Yeah, their defense held Marion to 64 yards of total offense, and we talk about Lehighton being tough up front and this and that, but in my opinion, the best player in that Lehighton defense is 5'10", and that's Tom Rosica. This kid is just, you talk about a guy all over the place with the motor that just doesn't quit and just making plays in the backfield constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, Wyatt Clemens we talked about, he's a great linebacker. But I love watching Tom Rosica play.
He's a football player. He is the epitome of a Coal Region football player.
I just like watching this kid play.
If you want to pick one player and to show people the effort that you want to see, that you would like to see from your players, you just have them watch him on every play, whether it's to his side or not to his side, wherever he's at. You just have him watch him, watch the effort that he puts out every play. Very impressive.
And last week, their defense was just so disciplined off play fakes and everything. They just were staying in their disciplines, keeping their assignments, and just, like I said, defensively they were just dominant. It was the best defensive performance I've seen this year.
Yeah,
I think.
All right, so we wrapped up our recap of all last week's games. So next we got some hard cold performers. So hard cold performers for last week. What do you got?
Short and sweet. Tamako with defense, really starting to gel. Sam Bonner's got him rolling, only 8 points the last 2 weeks. Probably going to be successful again this week on a 3-game winning streak, and the defense is the reason why.
I was at the Lehighton game, and I loved the performance I saw from Tyler Crum, their big wide receiver, 6 catches, 83 yards, including a touchdown. He made a phenomenal catch late in the first half. A ball was underthrown, looked like it was going to be a Marion interception. Crum came back for it, out-leaped 2 Marion defenders, made a sensational play. Also had an interception on defense, so my player of the week for this past week, Tyler Crum.
And I'll stick with our game of the week. Normally we spread this around, but looking at the performances from this week, it was our game of the week. It was a big game for both Lehighton and for Marion, and I'll go with Wyatt Clemens. He wore down the Colts. He really did. 135 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and Lehighton's playmakers made plays in their big game this week. So our hardcore performers, Tamaqua's defense, we got Tyler Crum, and then Wyatt Clemens, both from Lehighton. So that's a wrap for week 6. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back. We're going to take a look at all of the week 7.